So, am I audible? Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Yeah, you're audible.
Hope all of you are doing well.
Yes, ma'am.
Hale and hearty. Good. Sally, you're fine?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Somebody in your somebody was suffering in your family, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Now everybody is fine.
Okay. I'm very sorry I had to cancel last minute the lecture on last Tuesday. All of a sudden, my health went down for a change.
Ma'am, we revised on that day.
Sorry.
I did a revision lecture, like 9 to 10. We did revision, all of us.
Achha, revision of whatever has happened.
Whatever has happened in the past classes. Na?
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we left where I think, yeah. So we will start today with the 1.3.
Yes, vision and mission. We just.
Yeah. So we'll start with 1.3 today. So now can somebody tell me what is strategic positioning? Up till now, what have you understood about strategic positioning? Oh, come on. Okay, what is strategy?
Plan of action.
Plan of action. Then what is the difference between planning and strategy?
Plan of action in regards to considering vision, mission,
And
goal oriented.
what is the difference between planning and strategizing?
The actions with effectiveness and efficiency is considered.
Don't you think planning is supposed to be efficient and effective? So what is the difference between, yeah.
Yeah, I will try
Yes.
about strategic position.
Hmm.
So I can give an example of geographical strategic position. Okay, so let's say there is one college, and outside the college I know that a Xerox and photocopy business will run very well. So I will open a shop over there which will give benefits. Okay, so that is a geographical location for that sort of strategy. Similarly, in all sorts of businesses, we put some linear programming problem kind of concept, where we see that from where we are getting raw material, where is the market, which is the segment area, how the competitors are better than us, or how we can give tough competition to the competitors with respect to our cost, raw material cost, or customer locations. So all those things in a nutshell can be represented as a strategic position.
If to a layman, like last time I told you, let's move from complexity to simplicity. If to a layman, we have to explain, you know, if you say, for example, if your mom comes, who's just a homemaker, who has not really been exposed to strategy lectures. Now, if you have to explain it to her that, you know, what is the difference between planning, and you go and tell that I'm studying business strategy, and she says, okay, what is there in that? So what are you going to say? What is strategy?
Ma'am, can I give it a try?
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, planning could be like we are making plans and thinking out what we have to do and how we have to do. Strategy would be the exact plan which will be executed, the best plan which we have created, and how it will be executed.
Okay, good try, Daisy, but still एक वो bullseye नहीं hit हो रहा है. And we have been talking about it. Because if you have not understood that, then we will not be able to move ahead. What makes a strategy different? What is strategy? I've given out also actually.
Ma'am, if I may give a try to it, Niriksha here. So, strategy can be making choices depending upon the surrounding that we are in, like also the environment we are in. Whereas planning can be like how to use the resources that are there in the environment. So when it comes to strategy, it is about making choices and decision. Also, planning also has the decision making, but planning is also about the usage of those decision or the resources that we have.
Riksha, even this has resource allocation because what we are going to study is about strategy execution. Now, what is execution? When we are executing something, we are using resources. So we will be doing execution, we will be doing implementation, we will be doing all that related to strategy. Anybody else? One last try.
Ma'am.
Strategic positioning is also about creating
Not positioning.
your value.
Not positioning. I'm talking only about pure strategy. What is strategy?
Ma'am, can I try?
Value addition.
Karo. Whoever wants to try. Yeah.
Strategy. Oh, oh.
Yeah, I think Ketaki was saying something.
Value addition.
Value addition. Okay. A little bit closer.
And strategy could be like one word for strategy could be the tactic to achieving a goal.
No. Tactic is short term in nature. Tactic is always short term in nature. Something you just do and usse thoda sales बढ़ गई, thoda marketing बढ़ गया, something like that is a tactic. It's very short term in nature. We'll come to that, what is tactic. But tactic is something very, very short term in nature. Strategy is always long term.
Ma'am, it is a unique positioning, unique value.
It is creating a uniqueness into your planning, into your scheme of things. Because from when I am different, when I'm unique, there lies my strategy. That is why I strategize. I create a unique mix. We have been talking about so many successful examples and not so successful examples. Successful examples like, just etch certain case studies in your mind. Like we've been talking about Indigo, we've been talking about Uber. What have they done? They just ended up creating some uniqueness into their system, which was the requirement of the customer. And they created a unique model for themselves. That is strategy. Any general planning would be planning. Yes, strategy is planning. It requires strategic planning. But when we add uniqueness to that whole thing, why I should go to Ujjwala as a life coach and why I should go to Niriksha as a life coach? Why I should not go to Daisy? What is unique? All 20 of you, if you tomorrow graduate from here, why I should go to one and not to other? So that is about strategy. Creating uniqueness and difference, and strategic positions is also about being different. So whatever activities we deliberately, yes, like Vaibhav said that, it's about making choices. We deliberately choose a certain set of activities, and we choose them. Why? So that they can deliver a unique mix of values. So if I'm using the same examples again and again so that they get etched in your mind, if Indigo wants to be a low cost airline, It deliberately chose a string of activities so that it can deliver a unique mix of value and take care of its strategic positioning. We did IKEA last time in great detail. So that is where we are different from a simple planning. If this thing is understood, we will be able to build our blocks. Otherwise, we will keep getting confused. So when I'm talking about strategic and strategic positioning, the origin of strategic positions, if we really want to get into that. So when I'm talking about strategic competition also, that is also thought of as the process of perceiving new positions that can woo the customers from established positions or draw new customers into the market. So whenever I'm talking about strategic positionings, why do I make these positionings? So that the existing customers, they perceive me in a certain way. If I buy Adidas, it is some positioning that they have created. That's why I buy. Watch these ads. Watch ads, advertisements, TV ads of Adidas, of Nike. That's your homework. They always, why I should go for Adidas and why I go for Nike? Why do they use brand ambassadors? What do they are not just picking up brand ambassadors like that. Their advertisements always have one story. Next time, come and tell me what story Nike ads and Adidas ads have. They always have a theme. Watch 10 ads from last 5 years or 6 years of these two brands and see what story, how they have created the uniqueness, how they have done their branding, how they have done the positioning, why I go for Nike. What do I see? See, advertising is a big business. There's something they are trying to do there. What are they trying to do? They're trying to change the mindset, or they're trying to woo the customer by impacting their mindset. So either it is the existing customers or to get the new customers from the market. Okay, so that is why we end up having these strategic positions. Now, for example, another example, if I give you, there is a superstore which is offering a whole range of merchandise in a single category. Now, it will take the market share from the broadline departmental stores who are offering a limited selection in many categories. Both the positions are different. On one hand, you have superstores who are offering you variety of merchandise, but only in a single category. Now, they will have a particular market share. And the other one is a broadline department store, which is offering a more limited selection in many categories. Both have positioned themselves, like we've been using this example of DMart and Godrej Nature Basket. They have positioned themselves in a particular way. Now, strategic positions are often not very obvious. And finding them requires a lot of creativity and insight. When we are talking about the new entrants, they often discover unique positions that have been available, but simply overlooked by established competitors. So the new entrants in the market, there are already incumbents. Incumbents are those who are already there in the market. So this is a new term, incumbents. So when I am entering any market as a new entrant, I would like to discover a unique position. Now, how will I create that uniqueness? How will I identify that unique position for myself if that thing is not being offered by incumbents as yet? So I try to take that as my unique positioning. Like I gave you an example of IKEA last time. It recognized a customer group that have been ignored. Young people, working people, recently married, or living as single and bachelors, who are working from morning till night, don't have a very huge budget, yet want to have a comfortable lifestyle, and they don't have so much of time and energy to invest in designing and doing things. So we go to IKEA, everything is pre-designed, and we just pick up and come back. Like we discussed the entire model. And for that matter, even Uber. So most commonly when we are talking about new positions, we are talking about change. New customer groups, purchase occasions, they arise. New needs emerge in the societies as societies evolve. Now, today's times are the classic example of that. Classic example. So many things that we had not seen before. Like if you see phone pay, I was just reading a write-up today, phone pay and all these RuPay and all these things which are there, they were not in as much demand as they are now. Yet there are plethora of activities which have just gone off the shelf, like malls. The rentals for the mall and the mall as a real estate as an option has really gone down. We don't know when it's going to come up. Office spaces. I used to take lectures last year, and we used to talk so much about, all these shared office spaces which have come. But now that entire concept has gone down the drain. Hospitality as a sector has gone down the drain. Healthcare is just booming. Insurance just booming. Digital payments booming. So as our societies evolve, or as our new distribution channels also appear, like we moved from offline to online. If you remember OnePlus, it was quite later that they came up with offline channels, the stores, and they were, if you read about OnePlus, you will realize, and most of you must be using it, knowing it, that they came as an online option only. They were only available online. They were not available offline initially. Once they got the market share, that is when they started expanding. So when we are talking about new positions, creating new positions, they get created because of some change. And now it is all new normal that is setting up. So lot of new such positionings will happen. New technologies are getting developed. New machinery and information system became available. Like for example, if you take banks, for us, what was banks? Say 5 years back, or for that matter, 3 years back, what was bank? Banking was something I go to the branch and do everything. Now bank is my mobile phone. Bank is everything. Bank is here. I don't need anything else. So banks became fintech. A financial thing became completely into technology, and it was an amalgamation of finance and technology, which we know as fintech. That is a uniqueness that I created. It started with putting ATM machines, and then came net banking. And now in this, after demonetization and pandemic, now it's all just everywhere. Now I can make, I don't even, when I used to do my NEFT and all, it used to take like 1 day, 1.5 days, or after that only I can make the payments. I add a beneficiary, After that, it takes some time when I can transfer my money to somebody's account. And the first day, I can only, pass on transfer some bit of money. Then it is only on the second or the third day. So that much of time used to take place. Now through GPay, I don't have to add any beneficiary or anything. Whether the other person has GPay or not, I can just transfer my money, whatever I want to transfer, and any amount. So it is so see how the landscape is changing. Now, when such changes happen, the new entrants or the incumbents are those who are already there in the market, who have a long history in the industry. They can often more easily perceive the potential for a new way of competing. Unlike incumbents, newcomers can be more flexible because they face no trade-offs. What is trade-off? What is trade-off? Have you heard this word, this term? Trade-off?
Choosing something, ma'am. Choosing something.
Yes. Choosing one option and
over the other.
Yeah. Over the other.
That
is letting off the other one. So that is trade-off. And when we are talking about strategy, while you are talking about uniqueness and difference, you are also talking about trade-off. Strategy is not possible without trade-off because I cannot have everything. If I have to create uniqueness, I have to pick up something and I have to drop something. So that has to be understood very clearly. Again, if I'm talking about IKEA, global furniture retailer based in Sweden, they can afford to do anything. All they have, but they have a clear strategic positioning. It targets only young furniture buyers who want to style at low cost. So this marketing concept has turned into a strategic positioning, and it is tailored set of activities that make it work. It's a chain of activities which we discussed last time, which make it work. So that is about strategic. So are you getting an idea about what is strategic positioning? Is it getting little clear to everyone, all of you? If there is any question and query, please feel free to ask. Because if we are not going to understand this now, from here on, I'm going a little slow in my initial lectures. From here on, it's going to be a little faster. First few lectures, I generally keep slow because I know there are many people who are not able to work at a particular this thing. And these are not easy concepts. There are too many concepts which come at the same time. But please feel free to ask your questions. It's very important. Okay. So these are various kinds of positionings that we see. So when we talk about strategic positioning, they generally emerge out of three distinct sources, three different kind of sources. They are mutually exclusive. One does not run into another. So that is what you mean by being mutually exclusive. And they often overlap. So sometimes they overlap also. Okay. So strategic positioning, they are emerging out of three distinct sources, not mutually exclusive, and they often overlap. So while we will be trying to understand them, like we have three, as you can see on the screen, there is variety based, there is need based, and there is excess based. But generally, when it comes to real life, they are not mutually exclusive. But here, for our understanding, we are going to understand them, what each means. But in real life, they generally overlap. So coming to the first one, variety-based positioning. Now, these are the positionings which can be based on producing a subset of an industry's products or services. I repeat, this strategic positioning, that which we call variety based strategic positioning, they are generally based on producing a subset of an industry's products or services, and this is known as variety based positioning. It is generally based upon the choice of product and service varieties rather than customer segments. Variety-based positioning, when we are talking about, we just make it for all. This is a variety that I want to take care of. It is not customer segment specific. Like, for example, in today's scenario, if I'm making mask or if I'm making PPE kits, am I making it for some customer segment? No, it's for all. So but that is a variety that I have chosen. That's a product or service that I have chosen. So variety-based positioning makes economic sense when a company can produce a particular product and service using distinct set of activities. So I'm making mask, but in that thing also there must be some uniqueness to my mask that I have. That is what makes my mask sell. But it is for all. It is not catering to any specific customer in my mind. So generally, when we talk about variety-based, positioning, the punchline is do what you do is the best. Whatever I'm good at, whatever I'm best at, I'm doing that. That's a punchline that I follow when it comes to variety-based positioning. It is also known as value-based positioning at some places. Like, for example, another example I'll give you. A firm decides to produce a certain kind of textbook, maybe for colleges. Now, this example illustrates this position. It is not thinking that, whether Ketaki will use or Priyanka will use or Ujjwala will use. It's a maths textbook for college, which I have created. Because I'm good at it, I'm doing it. I'm best at it. I have created a uniqueness in my system and I can produce it. But I'm not keeping any customers. Yes, it is for the college. And that's why I said it's not mutually exclusive when I'm doing all this in real life. But to understand, variety-based positioning would be when I'm doing something, like another example I'll give you. Say, for example, I create a cloud computing platforms. We all use cloud computing. So I'm creating that cloud computing platform. It's for all. I'm doing it because I'm good at it. I have the resources. I have the technical know-how, and that is why I'm doing it. Okay. Now the second one. Have you understood this variety-based positioning? Everybody? Ishita, have you understood?
Ma'am, can
Yes,
I just say
I have understood.
Sorry.
as I understood this, it doesn't mean like there is a uniqueness in the product, but the uniqueness is not. It is for everybody. It is not for a particular segment of people. The product is
the
customized.
positioning. It is the positioning. It is, I have made the choice of this product to manufacture, or I have chosen to give this service, not keeping in mind the customer segment. When I'm creating a cloud computing platform, it's for all. So I am now going to work that it is for all. So that is how I'm going to create my chain of activities. I'm going to create the best platform. Now, another example I'll give you. You use Intel, or you use Microsoft, or you use your other computing platforms. They are getting, I'm doing what is best. I, as a manufacturer or giver of that product or service, I'm making and giving that to the best of my capability. Anybody can use it. It's for all. So that is a variety based positioning. And like I told you, just these are concepts which you understand, but when it comes to real life, it all gets mixed up. It all overlaps. And whatever concepts you are learning for next 2 or 3 lectures, like I told you in the beginning also, just try and understand, get the flavor of what strategy is all about. Then we will start using it. When it comes to implementation and when it comes to execution of strategy, then we will be using all these concepts. Right now, we are just understanding and making ourselves aware of what these strategic tools are. Okay, so I won't keep making you understand what is strategic positioning. We will be playing with these tools later. So right now, just understand all this. So I don't think it will be a problem. The second one is need-based positioning. How do we create this? Now here, it is related to the targeting the segment of customers. You know what is customer segmentation? Have you heard this term, customer segmentation? Anybody who wants to share what is customer segmentation? Because if we understand that, then there's no problem understanding this. Anybody? You can take an example and speak about it.
Ma'am, for example, as we were discussing about the Apple products, so they cater to a particular segment. That means different needs. So likewise, depending upon the socio-economic needs and the backgrounds, we categorize people into different segments.
Yes.
That's what I understand from it.
Basis on we categorize people on various customers on various maybe geography. It may be your to which income strata you are. It can be which social background. It can be because various aspects of the demographics. And that is how we pick up our customers. So this need-based positioning is generally related to targeting the segment of customers. It generally arises when there are a group of customers with different kinds of needs. And then what we do is that we tailor make a set of activities which can serve those needs the best. It can be some group of customers who are more price sensitive than others. Demand maybe of different product features, or they may need a varying amount of information, support, and service. All this will help me in deciding what need which need of a particular segment I want to cater to. And it can be any need that I identify. Can anybody give any example of need-based? I will also share examples. But whatever we have.
For example, Ferrari.
Yes.
Ferrari have thought like it is for a luxurious brand. It is only segmented to a particular set of people. And
very true. So Ferrari, not everybody can buy.
Yes. Ma'am?
Yeah.
Janvi here. On
yes,
the
Janvi.
other hand, Nano was created for middle.
I can't hear you, Janvi.
Now can you hear me?
Little better.
On the other hand, Nano was created for middle class people so that they can access and go anywhere where they want.
Very true. So it was like a 1 lakh thing. So instead of buying it was like, scooter with 4 wheels and a covered scooter, or maybe a better form of an auto. So making car available to all. So instead of buying a 80,000 rupee scooter, why not have a car? So that is what was Nano. So this is exactly, so you've just understood it right. So basically, when I'm catering to a particular segment, customer segment and their needs, that is need-based positioning. Another concept which we see here is access-based positioning. Access. Now, what is access? Access is always related to geography. So it can be a function of a customer's geography or a customer scale or of anything that requires different set of activities to reach the customers in the best possible way. Now here I can give you an example of rural versus urban based customers. Now there might be a company with access based positioning. It can be, the example can be that of a satellite provider, satellite phone provider. Satellite phone, if I'm a satellite phone provider, all these internet, Wi-Fi, this was a very urban thing, but not now. Even rural areas. So if I now decide to give my services to remote areas, to rural areas, that becomes my access based positioning. Phone coverage. There are so many locations and areas where we still don't have phone connections and internet connections. There are another example could be, you're providing your disaster services. There might be some island where something has happened and I want to access that, and all your normal phone services are destroyed there. So that would be an access based positioning wherein I'm trying to access that area, provide access in that area. So geography related. Most of the urban areas, most of the companies, FMCG and consumer durables, they started witnessing saturation in urban market. So from last so many years, the growth that the companies like Hindustan Liver, ITC, and all these companies have seen, it is primarily because of semi-urban and rural areas. This is known as market penetration and market growth, which we are going to again learn in subsequent classes. That how we try to get into the same market more deeply and how we create new markets. So when I'm trying to create new markets, it may be by accessing new geographies. So that is access-based positioning. Is it understood, the three types of strategic positioning?
Ma'am.
Yes, Ujjwala.
Access-based positioning, what you explained. So can education be one, like supposing hilly areas or mountain areas providing education? So can it come under access-based positioning, suppose?
Yeah, but yes, why not?
Where it is not available, the schools are not there. Or
where it is not. Now, it is not only where it is not available. You're talking about very extreme thing. Now, for example, it's been how many years since we started having international boards? Tell me. In Bombay, it's been there since long time.
Yes.
But now you see that international board and all these Cambridge boards in smaller cities also. So what was that? Access-based positioning, no?
Yes.
that if I'm here, I'm everywhere. I'm in this city also, I'm in this city also, I'm in this city also. And I will give the names of the cities where I am. So it is in metros, it is in semi-urban, and it is also in rural areas maybe. I'm not talking about this particular international, but I'm just telling you just to give you a perspective.
Yes.
So that is access-based positioning. I have my access to that much area. Has everybody understood this part? Anuja, have you understood? Shivani, have you understood?
Yes, ma'am. I've understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Aishwarya?
Ma'am, Shivani here, ma'am.
Yeah, Shivani, boliye.
So, ma'am, when we say access-based positioning, so can we take tourism also into that?
See, we can take any sector into that.
Okay, okay.
Now, we are not talking about this sector can create this and this sector cannot create this. Any sector, any product, any service, they can use any of these positionings. Isn't it? So
Yes.
it is not this sector is creating. I'm just giving you a few examples from telecom and whatever, I could just recollect.
Sure.
But any sector, any product, any service, we can use any of the positioning, and in real life, it is generally, they are not mutually exclusive. If I'm talking about Hindustan Liver, just imagine the kind of products, the range of products that they have. Can they stick to one positioning? No. Whole lot of products ITC has. Are you aware about ITC kind of ITC products that we have? Can you name few products of ITC?
Biscuits are there. There's rice. There is oil that they have
Classmate,
Namkeen is also there.
Countries.
classmate products are
Snacks.
I think I should ask you, what are the things in which ITC is not there?
Not there. Exactly.
So there's a whole lot of things. So they can't go by one positioning. It's a mixed bag. But for our understanding, we should know what these positionings are, what are the tools that are available. Understood? Okay. So we move ahead. Now this also we have done before. So can anybody tell me what is this strategic trade-off? Somebody told me actually, but I want somebody who's not spoken as yet. Yes, Shivani, what is strategic trade-off?
So, ma'am, if what I understand from strategic trade-off is like we select certain activities that are fit for our particular products, and accordingly we just give away certain other activities which are there in order to sustain in the market.
Yes, in order to maintain our unique position.
Unique positioning, yeah.
Okay, so the right words. That is how it is. So when I'm talking about strategic trade-off, what I'm saying is that I'm choosing a unique position. I have chosen my unique position, but that is not enough. Because I have to ensure a competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? I have some advantage over the others, over my competitors. Okay, so choosing a unique position, because it is not enough, it is, and we need to ensure competitive advantage. We need a valuable position. We need a unique, valuable position which will attract imitation by incumbents who are likely to copy me in one way or the other. Now, whenever a new thing comes in the market which is successful, what is my first instinct? मैं भी तो ये कर सकता था. I can also follow this model. When Indigo came as a, in fact, before Indigo, it was Deccan, I think, which came as a low cost model. Deccan, I think, was the pioneer in that. And then other low cost airlines started coming in. So that is imitation. So a valuable position that is created is always has a danger of attracting imitation by incumbents who are likely to copy in more than one way. How? A competitor may just try to reposition itself to match the superior performance. Why can't I? Can change my positions. So a competitor, because something is working, a competitor can reposition itself. Like, I'll give you an example. Have you seen this product Neutrogena? What comes to your mind when it comes to, if you've used Neutrogena, why do you buy Neutrogena? Why? Has somebody used Neutrogena? Why do you buy Neutrogena?
Quality wise.
Sorry?
Good quality, trustworthy.
Trustworthy, okay, fine. What else?
Effective. It's when we use it, it is effective. The changes can be seen.
Why have you chosen Neutrogena over maybe Nivea? Or Ponds?
We have heard good feedback from the
yes,
friends and relatives. That
word of mouth is very
word of mouth.
We heard from the people and we tried
Do
it.
you see another clue I'm giving you? Do you see Neutrogena products everywhere? Do you see it in DMart?
Online mostly.
No, ma'am. It's really.
Where do you?
Like we find it.
Sorry, who's speaking?
Like mostly in Health and Glow product stores only.
Yeah.
I found those things.
There it is. Have you ever thought why it is only available either at chemist shop or at these shops like Health and Glow, and you will, or maybe you will, I don't know whether it is there at Shoppers Stop and all, but have you ever seen Neutrogena kept at everywhere? Like you will find Patanjali everywhere. Earlier on it was only restricted to its own stores. Now you find it, or for that matter, you find Nivea everywhere, you find Ponds everywhere. But do you see Neutrogena everywhere? That is positioning. So you will only find, like somebody said, that it is found at Health and Glow, because Neutrogena as a product is always positioned for its medicinal value. And the strategic fit that is created and the trade-offs that are used are to retain that medicinal reputation, medical reputation. So you will never see Neutrogena deodorant. You will never see Neutrogena lipstick. Have you ever seen Neutrogena lipstick? You will always find Neutrogena soaps having some medical value to it. That is what is positioning. That is where they create uniqueness. That is where, a trade-off. And actually, if I want to, and those formulas, it takes a whole lot of things to create that fit, that they have used a lot of trade-offs. They have actually foregone lot of customers. Who stops them to keep it at DMart? Why they are not available at DMart? Why they are not available at all stores? Of course, now you have it at many places because they want to sell and there are too much of competition. But having said that, if you go outside, you will realize that they are only placed in particular themes of shops, which are stores which are there. So generally, when we are talking about trade-offs, they arise for various reasons. When there are inconsistencies in image or in reputation. Like, for example, carrying our discussion further, if Neutrogena has a premium medical reputation, then efforts are used, to create a new image. If I have to move from that medical reputation, if I want to go for something like, Neutrogena as a Lakme, how Lakme is not a medicinal. You will never get that. Lakme is everywhere, or Revlon is everywhere. Now, why I stick to that reputation? Because to create an image, it typically costs tens or even hundreds and millions of dollars in a major industry. So that makes it a powerful barrier for imitation. To create an image in the mind of customer is not easy. First, you have to create the product like that. Then you have to position it like that. To position and to market it, I have to advertise it like that. I have to, choose my stores like that. I have to do my customer segmentation like that. So these inconsistencies in image and reputation, they generally happen because of the trade-offs.
Ma'am, I have a query. This trade-off is it practiced by startups, or it is like already established and having the name and got that name in the.
I want Priyanka's question to be answered by anybody in the group now. Who will use trade-offs? Anybody can answer. Has everybody understood Priyanka's question? She's saying that are trade-offs used by startups or is being used by anybody in the industry? That's Priyanka, am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right. So who's going to answer this, please?
Ma'am Shivani.
Ma'am.
Haji, boliye.
So ma'am,
yeah, boliye Shivani.
I will say that trade-offs are used by everyone because they have to select certain activities and position their product accordingly. So they have to, whether it's a startup or whether any established any organization or business, they have to.
Anybody else would like to contribute to our discussion? Very nice. Thank you, Shivani. I'm not saying whether you're right or wrong. I'm saying thank you. Yes. Anybody else would like to say anything to Priyanka's question?
I think maybe this is mostly used by startups because that's how they start their business. They want to show the best. For example, when Neutrogena started, they had everything particularly in mind that they will be doing only these things. So they strategized it beforehand, before they put up their business. Now Lakme cannot do the same thing. Like they cannot become that exclusive brand like what Neutrogena is right now. So I think it is mostly the startups which do it rigorously than like they should be practicing away, but should be
later on they give up.
Startup.
Later on they give up?
No, they continue. Like mostly it starts with the startups, they do it. First, before which has been established, they don't go back to this like Lakme wouldn't stop creating so many products which they're already creating. They wouldn't become they wouldn't shorten. They would only try to be more variety based. That's what I meant.
Okay. Anybody else?
Ma'am, Aishwarya here.
Yes, Aishwarya.
I think it can be used by everyone. Like since the market demand keeps on changing over time, so we have to use trade-off. Like the company have to position itself, like Shivani ma'am said, and use trade-off according to the changing demand. So it is used by everyone.
Okay, Priyanka, now you have heard 3 views. What do you
Yeah.
think?
So I heard 3 reviews. Like I feel it is both as well. But I wanted to know when how is it more advantageous to use it? Which is the best way? How to use it to get the most benefit from using the technique of trade-off, strategy of trade-off. So I feel it is for both. Even startups can use it as well as people, the companies who have already made their names or industries can use this both the ways. And I have examples for both as well, if I can think of. So like Colgate Veda Shakti, one example. Also trade-off. And a startup like you said, Neutrogena, it's a startup which is taken again a trade-off.
Now, 1 minute, 1 minute. Neutrogena is not a startup. Neutrogena is a
Okay.
very well established company.
Okay.
Okay, it's been there since years together.
Yeah.
Trade-off is something which I weave in the string of activities. Okay, there are string of activities. I start producing one soap. Let's get to very basic. Today I decide to manufacture a soap. Now my soap should be of red color or of blue color. I choose to make my soap as a red color and not of blue color. This is a trade-off. Because I'm making one choice, giving up on another. I am choosing my soap to be of a particular smell, maybe a jasmine, it's going to smell like a jasmine and not like kesar. Trade-off. I'm choosing one for another. I want to put my factory at a place where jasmine and red color is available more. Okay. Now my place gets decided because of that. Again, a trade-off. There are 2 choices I have, but I choose this place. I do whatever is required. It's not to something. See, the established companies became established because they started in the right way. So the trade-offs happen when I start choosing my activities to do any kind of, to make any kind of, to sell any kind of product or service. It starts from the beginning. Strategy and planning is nothing but a series of decisions and choices that I make. When I make one choice, I have to forego another. Like 2 trains are standing on the station. I can't get into 2 trains. I have to sit in one train and forego another. Let go of another. You understand, Daisy and everybody? So it is not something that Lakme also has a positioning. It has a particular positioning, and to support that positioning, to ensure that positioning, it has been taking decisions. It has been choosing its set of activities. For that matter, any product and service that is selling today or getting manufactured or anything that is available for customers, it is a series of decisions that back that final product which comes to us. And this is all a function of the choices that we have made. When we make right choices at the right time, it is successful. When we don't make right choices at the right time, then it is unsuccessful. Do you understand? Daisy and everybody, have you understood this entire concept of trade-off?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's something very simple. And let's keep it simple only. So trade-offs, they generally arise from the kind of activities that we pick up. And trust me, see, every product requires different product configurations. It requires different equipments. To make them, you require different kind of employee behavior. Our employee behavior, which is expected in a hotel, in hospitality, is very much different from a shop floor. Workers at the shop floor, in the factory. The mindsets are very different. So the kind of the different equipments which are used, different employee behavior, different set of skills. Don't you think for every product or service you require a different set of skill? You require a different management system. Not everywhere, your centralized systems will work. If I want work to be fast, I need to decentralize. Maybe I need to work in cross-functional teams. I need to have more, give more autonomy to my freedom to my teams who are working. So I can't work in centralized way. So the trade-offs are in arise in from activities themselves, because at every stage, whatever position that I choose, I require a different set of activities to for that. Like I gave you the Indigo example, I gave you the DMart example. Low cost positioning, chain of activities. I have to forego certain things to get certain things. And also, trade-offs are generally very basic. So keep this concept very basic. If we over design an activity, most of the businesses fail when the activities are either over designed or they are under designed. Uber, you like Uber because it is designed in a particular way. If it was over designed, maybe you will feel uncomfortable sitting inside that, because half of the people will not be able to execute the app, or they will not be able to access it. So it has to be designed right. So trade-off is set of activities that you choose to ensure that that chain of activities, the coordination and the control in those activities remains very basic and smooth. There should not be over designing and under designing of activities. Is it becoming clear to you? We'll take a 10-minute break and again we will join. Okay, so we come back at 3:45. Thank you. Okay, so this is what we were talking about. The reasons for trade-off, they occur when activities are incompatible and arise for three reasons generally. Companies that try to be all things to all customers. This is one of the defect. By delivering another kind of value or attempting to deliver two inconsistent things at the same time. Like the example for this would be that whole confused positioning that Jet started having. Jet Airways, Jet Connect, Jet Light. That was over, the delivering was something different. I don't know what they were doing. It actually led to the entire demise of Jet Airways. An activity which is over designed or under designed. Because each of the activity is coming at a particular cost. And therefore we need to keep the resources in mind. Okay. So trade-offs, they create the need for choice. This we have been talking about, that trade-offs and needs goes together. And strategy can also be defined as making trade-offs in competing. This concept also actually we have discussed, strategic fit. Can anybody tell me what is a strategic fit? Your understanding of strategic fit. We'll be able to revise all the concepts today and then, because they will not come again now. Anybody wants to say anything? Yes, Mr. Dutt, you want to say anything?
On strategic fit?
Yes.
That maybe I'll just need to reflect for 2 minutes. Just going back a minute on like the strategic, especially the trade-off bit. I was just thinking of revalidating with you. So trade-offs will also be, will it also be, rather than saying will also be, will it also be choices which are which are almost similar in terms of it being lucrative as choice and difficult to make in that sense. So, in some sense, it is a conflicting choice or a choice which is difficult to make because both look equally attractive in a sense, and then sort of you weigh out one from the other. Is that also so?
As in life, so in business, we always get all these. I mean, there are decisions which are tough to take. Isn't it? So choices may look similar and all those things, but we do make choices. We do pick up one thing and we forgo another. So trade-off is nothing but when we have one positioning and to hold on to that positioning, I'm making a string of choices so that I can execute my activities, I can execute my strategy, and in that I'm making choices, and that choice that I'm making is in compliance with or keeping in mind my strategic positioning. The choices that is made is a trade-off, because whenever I make a choice, I'm choosing one and I'm foregoing another. That's a trade-off.
So what I'm also trying to get at is if it is this or that, then both this and that in some sense are equally attractive to me.
Okay.
Isn't it so in most of the cases? Because that which is almost not coming close is not even a choice from a strategy choice point of view. I was trying to basically get at, I mean, I was reflecting on that actually.
Let's get back to the example.
Hmm.
Now, if you are CEO of Indigo, and it's a low cost airline. Now, the string of activities that they have chosen, whether they were similar, they were same, whether they were different, but they actually ended up making certain choices. Those choices, whenever those choices were made, say for example, I'll give you another example for that, of the choice that they made. Now the choice that was made was that we are going to, for a very long time, they only bought planes from one company.
Because of ease of maintenance and everything. Yeah.
Yes. So that's a choice that I have made. There is a trade-off there. Now I could have gone for 5 different types of varieties, but then I have a position to defend. So I made that choice. These are winning choices that I make. When the business is successful, it's the winning choices that I have made for myself, and I've stuck to them.
What I was trying to get, so I'm in complete agreement with that, but I was trying to sort of reflect a little more in thinking that, see, this is a choice which they made between a low cost airline and a full cost airline, so to say, like a full-fledged airline, right?
Yes.
And that depended on their resources, on their abilities, on their competences, etc., and they made a choice. So on one hand, both these choices were equally lucrative. Possibly what tilted their decision from one to the other was this set of expertise, their finances, this, that, and the other, right? But fundamentally, this was also a good choice. That was also a good choice, because in this world there are also full cost airlines, so to say,
Yes.
And what we are saying in the context of Jet Airways, uh, maybe because it was an acquisition from Sahara, if they, and I think I partly believe that it was also because of their finances that they did not really do well,
Yes.
and possibly they tried to combine resources, whereas these are very two different sets of competences, which possibly they should have sort of kept it very different. But the moot point in the context of our strategy discussion, which I am trying to understand, is assume a situation where they had acquired, and I don't know, Southwest is also, like a completely low cost airline. So all the successful airlines that you find today in the world are only doing one and not the other. But I'm just, as a student, I'm trying to figure out that had they, and there is always a first time in the world as well. So if they would have sort of, ridden on both the boats, so to say, or both the horses,
Both the horses of being a low cost as well
and a
as
high cost, because
and a full service airline.
that's right, because one is an acquisition,
Hmm.
and sort of mixed their resources and competences in a way where they could have run independent, because there are, even if not in airlines, there are examples in this world where companies have gone in not just with core competences but non-core competences as well. So it's not always CK Prahlad, so I was just trying to sort of figure out more as a student, whether these are also realities that, because see, whatever success, my last point is, whatever success we are talking about is also with hindsight. Because when Indigo, or a Southwest airline also, which they say that, they replicated it very well, the competences, etc. When they set out with confidence and they did the right things. But having said that, there is always that small element of uncertainty and so-called market dynamics, environment, etc. So these are more reflections. I was wondering whether that is, also holds
See,
true.
I'll tell you, in business and in real life, there are hardly any absolutes. Now,
Absolutely.
the situations are generally not binary in nature.
True.
There is black and white, बहुत कम होता है. There's generally gray. So the thing is, here what we are trying to do is, without complicating matters, we are just trying to understand this trade-off as a concept. Okay. Now we can, like I said, this is one thing, that one terminology of strategy that we just want to understand it as it is, very simply. And then what you are talking is that you are talking about the implementation part of it. That, as I understand what you're saying. So it is like, yes, it can be used like this, it can be used in, I mean, we can design n number of positionings for ourselves. And we can use, but basic idea that I want the class to understand, that what is a trade-off, that if even you can define, if you are just asked what is a trade-off as far as business strategy is concerned, what would you say in 2 lines? very simply?
I would say that it is, in keeping with my resources and my business plans, it is making a choice out of two choices which are almost equally good, which has a better chance of success.
Yes. So that's it, and no more. So it is a sustainable strategic position which generally requires a trade-off. Now, why we are saying that? Because I have to sustain my positioning, I will need to make some choice. And that's it. It means that more of one thing necessitates less of another thing, because there's a choice. Because if I have to use one thing, then if I have one stomach to fill, I can either fill it with rice, I can fill it with either rice or roti, or I can fill it with half rice, half roti, or whatever combination I want to use. Stomach to wahi hai. So the thing is that I just have to here understand there might be many ways that I can use these concepts, but here I just want to understand what is a trade-off. In two lines to a layman, what trade-off is? Trade-off is nothing but making a choice which suits my strategic position. That's it. Because if we will confuse this whole concept, then we will keep going on, because then we are talking about implementation, and that we will do, where we will be using all these things. So let's wait for that. Okay. So anybody who would like to talk about strategic fit?
So fit, I think one example would be what we just discussed. Say, for example, having the same fleet of airplanes. If my strategy is, this thing, quick turnaround time, then my expertise in being able to maintain those planes. So a good strategic fit is the decision of having the same fleet of planes in itself, right? Or for that matter, competencies of my engineers. So that competency of my engineers fit this thing of a quick turnaround, because one of this thing of a low cost airline is the fastest turnaround that is possible. So I think whether it is manpower resources or the aircraft themselves, all of these are also strategic fit in that context.
Yes. So it's a chain of activities that I choose to have. Like Mr. Dutt said, that if I'm a low cost airline, I have a same set of fleet of aeroplanes that I have, the aircrafts that I buy, because then I don't have to have battery of people to maintain them. I will only train my staff uniformly, and then they are going to take care of my plane, the choice of my gate, the very fact. So it is the entire plethora of activities. It is like, when a person is coming with a bin in the hand, why do we never used to have this before, that you dispose of your things, in the give it when you are in flight itself. Why are they doing that? To lower down your turnaround time. So it's about everything. So if I have not only low cost, it's also one of the main positioning that they have is that it is on time performance, which later on, yes, it got little compromised, but by and large, Indigo is known for its on time performance. So they will do anything, they will create a strategic fit in such a way that their resources and capabilities are used in congruence with the external opportunities which are there. A business does not, it's always a combination of external environment and internal environment. That you all will agree. It's never, I can just have this thing that, okay, I'm going to create this and I'm going to manufacture this, but I need a market also. I need resources also. So, and therefore I need to I need to have a conducive external environment, and there has to be a conducive internal environment. Now matching, and then the matching of resources takes place. Now I plan to go only with one person to buy my fleet, but now I want to expand. I want to buy 100 more aircrafts. And if this person does not have, if this company does not have, is not capable enough to deliver that kind, Can I go ahead with my expansion? No. So I have to keep my resources, the resources matching. The matching of resources has to be done, and the capabilities, it has to match with the internal as well as external environment. So it is a chain of activities that I create. I need to examine my resource base as an organization, what resources I have. Then only I can create my strategic fit. And also I have to devise ways to use those resources more, I won't say resourcefully, but more optimally. To the best of my capability. So it is again, I would say, it is a degree to which the organization is matching its resources and capabilities with external opportunities. So internal, external interface is resources which I have to match and use and create a fit for myself. It's a chain of activities that I create. And actually, when it comes to competitive advantage, creating a competitive advantage, it is this fit that works. What formula is Neutrogena using which cannot be imitated, which cannot be replicated? What are they doing to maintain their medical reputation? Or if it is only Uber which is there in the market, for example, then what is it that they have done to their business which other counterparts were not able to do? What fit have they created? What is that chain of activity that they have created? How they have used their resources that others cannot imitate? What DMart is doing that Big Bazaar is missing? Even in pandemic, while there are other companies which are Futures Group is reporting. I mean, there are a lot of reasons for. There's not one reason. A lot of reasons. But what DMart has done to itself, that come what may, Kiranas were doing well during these times. The local stores are doing well. Everything is doing well. But still, DMart is doing equally good. So what is that fit that they have created? It's the chain of activities. And as my external environment change, and a lot of companies are witnessing external environment, and all the companies have witnessed change in external environment. So in consonance with the external environment, I'm continuously matching my resources and my internal environment also. Continuous, that churn is going on. And that is where agility comes. That is where adaptability comes. That is where resilience comes. That as environment is changing outside, I'm also changing my internal environment and adjusting my resources. So what I'm doing in principle, I'm working continuously on my strategic fit in such a way that I'm able to beat the competition come what may. And there are many such companies who are working towards it. So it is fit that drives both competitive advantage and sustainability. How would you define sustainability?
Sustainability will come a future planning basically with respect to the environment and the resources. So to plan your activities such that it is eco-friendly, or it has to be environment friendly. Plus, it has to go in the long run. Sustain.
Sustainability, we are not talking about environment.
Okay. So to be there in the market for longer future.
So it is my ability to maintain at a certain rate, at a certain pace. That is sustainability. So it is actually the kind of strategic fit that I create that drives competitive advantage, because it is because of strategic fit that I am able to compete with my rivals and sustain myself as a business model at a particular rate in the market.
Ma'am, here I had one question.
Hanji.
Is merger and acquisition coming in the strategic fit? Is that a part of a strategic fit?
It's a part of strategic execution. See, understand, strategic fit is the activities that I'm doing. This what you are talking about is also this is a strategic decision that you are taking while executing your strategy. So mergers and acquisition is also a part of the strategy. It is also a part of the decision that the management system. But understand this very clearly. It's not a resource. Are you playing with your, is merger and acquisition your resource?
No. At a further stage, means I just wanted to say
we will
at a later stage.
Let's not complicate, because this will complicate the discussion for many, and we will be doing mergers and acquisitions, takeovers and demergers and everything we will be doing. So let's try and understand these concepts in isolation right now.
Okay.
Because even one word changes the entire meaning here.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So nothing wrong in asking questions, and I'm just telling you.
Yes.
So ask yourself, is it a resource? No, it's not a resource. Merger and acquisition is not a resource. So here what we are talking is that strategic fit it's a chain of resources that we are using, matching our internal and external environment, and because of the right strategic fit, we are able to attain competitive advantage and sustain ourselves in the business. Now, what is fit? Fit is also leveraging what is different to be more different. What is leveraging? What do you mean by leveraging? Anybody?
Building upon strengths or resources.
Yes. So leveraging is what I already have and I'm building upon it. I'm banking upon it. That is leveraging. So I have my resources, I have my capabilities. I'm using them in such a way that I create uniqueness in my system. Or I am acquiring resources in such a way that it creates uniqueness in my system. So that is leveraging. So I use my existing resources. Maybe I have capital as a resource. Now, Jio is an example of that. What did Reliance do? Reliance was actually sitting on a lot of surplus which was created by petrochemicals, their petroleum business. They had a lot of surplus. And that was deployed into creating, maintaining, and sustaining Jio. Otherwise, just think, for so many years initially, the service was coming free to us. They actually got into the market when the market all looked, almost saturated. There comes Jio like a shark. It leveraged its resources. It was sitting on huge surplus. That's why that no business can't. I mean, I'm not into business for charity. Business means money. So they were leveraging their resources. So when activities mutually reinforce each other, competitors can't easily imitate them. Like, forget about activities. If this class of 20 people decides that we are just going to be a winning team, or 10 of you decide we are just going to become a winning team, There is a lot of criticism that comes your way. Still, you play, you just keep all criticism, all weaknesses, everything, and you just make a winning team that whatever opportunity I get, I'm going to make most of it and I'm going to do. What are you doing? You're trying to reinforce, you're mutually reinforcing each other, you are with each other. So activities have to be designed in such a way that they mutually reinforce each other. And competitors can't easily imitate them, because when if the chain has, if the chain of activities that I have built for myself has holes in it, has leakages in it, then it is easy to imitate. The choice of activities and the way they are weaved together, it has to be completely foolproof, and therefore we have to continuously keep revising, we have to continuously keep updating, we have to continuously keep our resources matching the internal as well as external environment. I cannot, in business in today's times, or I'll give you a simple example. The kirana stores, at one point of time when all this online thing and everything, malls came, and they actually they were to an extent, the business got, to a large extent the business got impacted. The kirana stores, which from a normal shop transformed and metamorphosed themselves into a mini superstore kind of a thing, with all the new imported things, and your superfoods and organic foods and all those things, they remain in business. They did remain in business, because if the client wants the organic food and the superfoods, and if they are looking for it, and if I'm providing it, then they will not go anywhere else. They will at least stick to me. Major portion will stick to me. So I have to keep these activities, design these activities which mutually reinforce each other, so that competitors to remain in business, and this ensures competitive advantage and sustainability. Fit locks out imitators by creating a chain that is as strong as the strongest link. IKEA example also, if you remember, everything was reinforcing each other. It is a central component of competitive advantage, because discrete activities often affect each other. Sometimes, because it's a chain of activities, so each activity can sometimes eat into the other. So the choice and the trade-offs have to be made in such a way that these activities don't affect, they have to affect each other positively by reinforcing rather than eating into each other. It is strategy specific, because it enhances a position's uniqueness. Very, very important point. You cannot just make choices up and down. First, number one reason, because we have limited resources. We have limited resources, we cannot afford to waste them. And therefore, you should be always cautious of having multiple positions, because it takes millions and millions of rupees to defend the position. So while we can have full cost, low cost, medium cost, no cost, whatever cost airlines, but it will take millions of rupees to defend one position. Do I have that kind of resource? You should always, whenever you're setting up a business, whenever we do business, create a positioning, create a positioning, weave activities the way you want to activities. Don't jump from one positioning to another, one thing to another. First, get crystallized yourself in one business model. Then think of expansions and and playing on strategic positionings and all that stuff. Companies do change their positionings. ऐसा नहीं है that they don't change their position. They do change their position. But having said that, change the position, right? But do you have the resources? Do you have the resources to defend that position? Because it will require you to change the entire strategic fit. If you have the strength, go ahead. There are MNCs who have different kind of products, different kind of positions, they can manage. If we have resources, please go ahead. But if we do not have that kind of resources, कहते हैं ना उतनी पैर फैलानी चाहिए जितनी चादर है. It's like that. It's as simple as that. So this is a matrix that they have shown. The graph, as you increase on your distinctiveness, so you have high here, you have low here, then you have market appeal. Actually, this thing comes much later, which they have shown now. But okay, whatever, we'll try and understand this here only. So this is distinctiveness, this is the uniqueness that I create. So here the uniqueness is going high and this is low. Then you have your sales volume, which is low here and high here. Then you have your price power, high and low. Just try and understand, then I'll explain you. Then you have your market appeal, niche and broad based. Niche is when you are only targeting a particular niche, generally a higher class segment. That is what is niche, a particular kind of segment, very, very specific, like Louis Vuitton. It is not for all. It caters to a particular niche. And then you have broad spectrum. So now just see, as my distinctiveness goes up from high to low, what is happening? My sales volume is low and I'm catering to niches. Can anybody give an example? I'm in this bracket. What products will come here? Distinctiveness, uniqueness is high, sales volume is low, price power again high, and I'm catering to niches.
Now, is it iPhone, Apple?
Okay, Apple iPhone. I think more Apple iPhone.
Or
Yeah.
luxury cars also.
Luxury cars also. So high on uniqueness, low on sales volume, price power is high. Because we are not saying that the profits are low. We are saying that the sales, so the number of units I may be selling maybe less, but maybe I'm making more profit here because the price power, the price I can charge is high, because I'm only catering to niches. Has everybody understood this quadrant? Nirisha, have you understood this quadrant? Pratiksha, have you understood, dear?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's move here. So we are talking about high distinctiveness. Sales volume is high. Then you have your high price power, but it is broad spectrum. Matlab, not so broad, but then again, there is a spectrum here. From central, it's moving towards broad spectrum. So more number of people are buying. Market appeal is a little higher. So I'm moving from not niches, but a broad spectrum. broad centrality, price power remains high, distinctiveness is also high, but here sales volume has also become high. Any example that you can give of this?
Ma'am, it can be TV,
Sorry?
watches, TV, laptops, high-end watches.
See, TV, watches, we can't, here we have to talk about
brand name.
Yeah, brand name.
Okay.
Because TV is available for 5,000 also.
On the higher, I wanted to say higher cost TVs.
Yeah, higher cost.
Big size inches.
Yes.
Can
No,
be
you are
sold
right.
in,
You are right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. But any brand name that you can put here, or anybody else can put here, any brand names that you can put here. You are right, what you're saying.
Dell laptops.
Anybody else?
Kinder Joy chocolate.
Sorry?
Kinder Joy chocolate that comes. Kinder Joy.
Kinder Joy?
Yeah.
No. What Kinder Joy?
An example of it.
Ma'am,
30 rupee thing that we are talking about there.
I'm like, for example, when we talk about watches, we can take Titan watches there. And then they
Titan
come
also
up
premium collection.
Yeah. So I was coming to Utsavi and all where they do keep
Premium collection.
Premium collection, yes.
Yeah. So we are not talking about the general. So there also there is a spectrum. So here we are not talking about super luxury. Here we are talking about maybe luxury.
Yeah, like even the gold, if we go for necklaces and all, instead of going for Jadao and all, we are coming for the regular, little bit higher price, but the volume is more when people do come for.
No, gold won't be an example of that.
Tanishq brand.
Sorry?
Tanishq brand, gold brand of Tanishq.
See, Tanishq is also like, Tanishq also caters, can go to any range. It can go to any range. So now it depends what range are we talking about here. And it's not about, Tanishq is into gold. Gold anyway is a super luxury these days. With 50,000 rupees, it has already crossed a lot of levels. So like I said that, somebody just mentioned, it is more to do with your higher end TVs and laptops and, whatever, those kind of.
Some makeup brands also, ma'am.
Makeup brands also. So makeup brands, if we talk about, so let's make this. Let's make this simple now. Now, if there is a makeup brands, if you go enter into a Shoppers Stop, you have all been to Shoppers Stop. There is a Lakme there is a Revlon there, and then you have whole lot of your international brands. The cost of what is it called? All cosmetics and all, it can be anything. Cosmetic, by the way, is quite a expensive thing, so to say. So here what we are saying is that as distinctiveness increases, my sales volume, if they are very low, if I can do, so this is how I position myself. We can discuss this and we can see what examples fit into it. But basically at this point of time, if I have to understand these various quadrants, what they're trying to say is as distinctiveness goes up and the sales volume go down because the number of units that are sold may be less, but higher purchasing, I'm targeting people with higher purchasing power, and therefore the price power would be more, and then I'm catering to niches. If my distinctiveness is low, then also in that case also I may be catering to niches that I don't have. Like for example, I take Tesla. Tesla would actually come here. very high on distinctiveness. Have you seen Tesla cars? Have you heard about Tesla cars? They are all for their uniqueness. They're heavily into electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles. So high on distinctiveness, hardly any sales volume, but very high purchasing power, price power. Here we are talking about low distinctiveness. So all your, but again, it is catering to niches. Sales volume is also low, but the price power now has to be kept in mind. So I will decide my positioning. So basis this, I would like to see where I want to fit in if I want to start my business. These are 4 things that I have to keep in mind when I'm talking about my deciding upon my strategic positioning, because that is how I'm going to create my fit. That is how I'm going to choose my make my choices and decide my trade-offs. Where I want to be in this quadrant. Think from an organization's point of view, not as a customer's point of view. Where I want to be with my product or service. At this point of time, you only need to understand this. That as if I have to start my business, if I have to give any product and service in the market, where I want to fit myself. Which positioning, how I want to position myself. You will get examples of all. Are you understanding this concept? Everybody? Janvi, have you understood? Ishita? Anuja?
Yes, ma'am.
So at this point of time, only understand as an organization's point of view where I want to be in this, in which quadrant I want to be. It will help me decide what kind of, assess what kind of resources I have, what is my internal environment and what is my external environment, what opportunities I have and how I can tap it. Any questions anybody has as of now? Is it sounding difficult? Anybody? Bolo, bolo. Is it looking difficult or is it understandable? Go home today, read all this. Because there are people who have missed the classes also. Go through everything. And then if there are any questions and queries, come back on Tuesday and ask. Because these are very general concepts. Is it okay? Go home and read all this. If there are any questions and queries, I'm sitting here. Okay. So we sign off now. It's 4:30, 4:29. We again meet on Tuesday. Ujjwala, my Tuesday lecture needs to be rescheduled. So maybe, I mean, whenever you can just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, the last Tuesday, what we missed.
Last Tuesday, what we missed, we can reschedule that lecture maybe next week or week next to that, and then we can see. You just let me know.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.